You are listening to the All County All-Stars podcast, a show featuring franchise success stories in property management. Thinking about starting your own business and considering property management? Hear how our franchisees have partnered with All County to overcome obstacles and open flourishing franchises across the United States. Welcome to the All County All-Stars podcast. This is your host, Tanya, and today I'm super excited to bring you Sue Ferrera. And Sue has a very interesting background, and she's been an All County franchisee for quite a while. She owns the All County Tampa Bay office, and as of today, the day we are recording, a second office. But before we get all the way over there, Sue, welcome to the show. So glad to have you.
Thank you, Tanya. It's a pleasure.
Likewise. So you have a very interesting background, and part of the fun of interviewing the franchisees is actually learning more about where they started before they came to All County. What were you doing?
I was a show host at Home Shopping Network for many years.
No way! What did you sell?
Yeah. Pardon me?
What did you sell on TV?
Well, in the beginning, it was a little bit of everything. Crazy stuff. I started when the company just went national, so it was an interesting time in television. Television has changed a lot over the years. I mean, this was before they even had wireless mics and IFBs and things like that, so you were tethered to a table, and it was fun. I eventually became the cooking guru and the garden girl.
Oh,
so
no
those
way.
Those were my two kind of niches for home shopping. Then I left home shopping in 2000 and became an on-air guest, and then I repped product lines and did some infomercials and things like that. And then I dabbled in the mortgage world and for a couple of years. And then I got into this.
It does seem not like a straight trajectory there. So like TV show host and then property management franchisee.
I know. So I came into this business kicking and screaming. My husband Han, who he sells the franchises, and a little bit of nepotism. My sister is the CEO and the owner of the franchise, and he was selling these franchises, and he's like, "Oh, we got to do this. I'm like, "No, we really don't. I'm not working for my sister. I have no interest in property management. I don't know anything about it, but anything I do know about it, I don't like. Just don't want to do it." And here I am.
I was just going to say, and yet here you are. And not only that, but like 13 or 14 years later, here you are still doing
I know,
it,
right? Yeah, it's a strange dynamic. But I will tell you that for me, because I'm like, all over the place, ADD, I'm like, oh, look at the shiny object.
I can relate.
I'm one of those people that can't sit still for any length of time.
Yep.
This is a great job for that, because no 2 days are the same. Everything changes. You're always doing something different. It may be an object that you don't want to go near, and maybe it's something that appeals to you and you want to find out more about. But there's constantly changes every day.
Yes, I agree that it is. Real estate in general is not a boring business, but especially property management, right?
Yeah.
Because you work with so many different types of people. Mm-hmm.
Just when you think you've seen it all,
something new happens. You're like, oh, that is new. Yeah.
You're so right.
So was Han working with the franchise first then, and then you sort of came around, and how did he convince you, or did he? So because you said kicking and screaming.
So I just kept saying, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And he's like, but it's a business. It's a residual income. This is what you want. And I'm like, no, this is what you want. This is not what I want. And he's like, but residual income. And I'm like, okay, that's good. Because, when I was repping products, that's kind of like moonlighting. Mm-hmm. And you never know when you're going to do another one.
Right.
With infomercials, if they don't roll out, you don't get paid any more money.
True.
So, so I said, okay, I'll take a look at it. And then when I said I'll take a look at it, I was in class a week later doing the training.
Oh my.
So it was kind of like, yeah, sure. This may be the end of our marriage. Not sure. So we opened the office. I had no clue. So back when we opened the office, the franchise was still very, very young. And so I was kind of uncertain as to everything I could do. And I didn't really want to call my sister because that felt weird.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I wanted to do it on my own and be independent. And I just took off running. And I think I picked up like 160 some units my first year.
Woo! Excellent.
Thanks. But I mean, it's just, that's what you can do is really what I'm saying. And it was just a different it just was, all of a sudden it was fun to me because I had this huge challenge in front of me. I wasn't exactly sure what I was doing, but I was doing it. And I really wanted to make it work. And I also, that whole residual income thing was so interesting to me.
And I will point out for our listeners who are considering a property management franchise that like 160 units is possible in the first year, right? I mean, this is my first year as a franchisee. And if you put in the work, you can get the business. The key is putting in the work, right?
You're exactly right. So I can tell you now, with all the training that you have in franchise and the franchise support and everything else, there's offices kicking my butt that do so much more and have picked up so much more in their first year. To me, it's so exciting because everybody, and I learned so much from some of the new franchisees, because everybody does things a little bit different and styles a little bit different. And the stories are really interesting. So
they are. We have enjoyed talking to lots of different franchisees on the show because they all come from different backgrounds, right? And they all have managed to use the franchise model to become successful and achieve what they are looking for with the business with, as you said, residual income. Yeah. So you start 13, 14 years ago, roughly speaking, and then how has your business adapted over the last decade plus? I mean, you've seen a lot of real estate market cycles. You've probably been through some employees. What words of advice would you have for somebody getting into the business and just starting, and or somebody who, might be working on their own property management company and then wants to partner with a franchise? What words of wisdom would you have for these people?
I think the first thing I would say is take it slow. I know everybody wants to jump in and set the world on fire. I jumped in and
set yourself on fire too.
And I ended up getting rid of a lot of properties that I didn't want, that I should have never picked up in the first place. And I'm not saying you shouldn't pick up everything when you first start, because you should. But after that first year, you need to take a really solid look at where you are and where the noise, I call it the noise, the noise is, the things that get to you, that irritate you, that bother you, or, in the pit of your stomach. And those things you need to get rid of. And you can't take anything personal in this business.
100%. Yes.
It's just got to be like water off a duck's back. You just got to let it roll and really think about who you need and what they do and what you want to do. And then you've got to be super, super, super honest with yourself. What are you good at? What do you like to do? What do you not like to do? Because for me, I was trying to be jack of all trades. And I can tell you that will blow up in your face. I wanted to say that I was really good at being organized. I'm a hot mess. I am always going to be a hot mess. I know this about me. At my age, it is not going to change. It just isn't, So those things I think are really crucial. You just really need to think about who you need, and what you're good at.
And this is, I think, a really great piece of advice, because all of us come in with strengths and weaknesses, Absolutely. Right? And I liked what you said about, don't do the things that give you like that pit in your stomach feeling, right? Whether that's chopping a property that just does not fit with your model or your people, really. And I think that, that's the beauty of starting your own business. You can make those decisions. You can decide what the world looks like, right?
Yeah, it's up to you. It's your business. And I think sometimes we lose sight of that, because I'm one of those high I people. I want to please everybody. I want everybody to like me. Please like me. And I've learned over the years that doesn't come into play. They may like you on the phone. They may like you for a week, but they may hate you next month. You can't take it personal.
Right.
You just got to put your head down and go. And you have to remember that it is your business and what makes sense. And then you really got to figure out your costs. And that's another thing that's very, very difficult. What makes sense for what you're making now? And how much money are you really making? Or are you losing money? Sometimes I'm overstaffed. If I'm overstaffed, is there a reason for that? What's my reason? And is it going to benefit me on the other side? Because if it isn't, then I need to do something about it. And I think those are the kind of things, running a business that's a little bit difficult. I think having a mentor is so, so important.
Agree completely.
Yeah, without a mentor, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I think that's one of the things that I didn't have in the beginning. And I was, I can do this, piece of cake. I know what I'm doing. Nobody knows better than me. Franchise would say, don't do that. And I'd say, they're not in the trenches every day. They don't know. I'm going to do it anyway. And then, spontaneously combust. So I've probably made every mistake out there that you can make because I'm a little hard-headed. Don't be hard-headed. Don't listen to what people tell you in this business. And particularly when you're going through training and when you're with the franchise system, listen to what they say, because those are the ways to avoid the pitfalls. And let me tell you, those pitfalls, they hurt.
Yeah. Can you give us an example, actually? Because, I think on this show, we are pretty honest about, it's not all rainbows and roses all of the time, right? I mean, there's going to be some difficult issues that you face in this business, like any business.
Right.
What are some of the challenges that you've had over the years? Because, I mean, you've had, a decade plus of being a property management franchisee. I'm sure you've got some great stories.
Oh, yeah. I had an investor I was working with, and in the beginning, little sketchy. I didn't think he was sketchy. Corporate was telling me he was sketchy. He was buying up properties. He initially came to me and he met with me and he said, I want to get 6 properties. That's all I want, 6 properties of my own. He got 6 properties, and then he got 10 properties. And then he said, well, now I have this group of investors and I'm buying properties. And he's buying. He doesn't know what he's buying. He's in France. He's looking on Google Earth. And remember, technology was different 10 years ago than it is now, or 13 years ago. So he's buying all these properties, and home office is saying, walk away, walk away. I'm seeing dollar signs because,
Yeah, you're like, hey, he's buying all these properties. Fantastic.
Yeah, they don't know. Well, these properties, I go to look at one, and there's a palm tree growing out through the middle of the living room. Big hole ceiling. Palm tree's getting plenty of sunlight, getting water from the rain. And
oh, my goodness. And he
didn't know what he was buying.
Was he just
no idea
buying it because they were cheap? And he was thinking,
well, this is when the market crashed and you saw a ton of people that were losing their homes. These people are very angry.
Yes.
They didn't want to lose their homes. They're blaming everybody else. So you're getting cement poured down all of the
toilets,
toilets and the sinks and everything else. Anything that they could do, taking all the appliances, destroying the walls, writing things on the walls about how can you take my home, and really destroying the properties to the point that we're talking not $1,000 or $5,000. We're talking $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to fix a property.
Yikes.
So he's buying all these properties. I'm seeing dollar signs. Wow, now we have, 150 properties. Well, we only had like 5 rented, 10 rented, 20 rented. That's how it was going. Because they weren't habitable.
Right.
And we couldn't keep up.
And so much work to make them habitable, it sounds like.
It was a nightmare because I was hiring more staff to get out to these properties, to look at these properties, to figure out what had to be done, and trying to find more vendors and dip up. And then finally, I realized after we had probably, about 250 properties under our belt with him, that it was costing me money.
Yeah.
It was costing me money. And so I had to make that hard separation. And of course I had a relationship with this guy. He was, we loved him because he trusted us and he brought us all these properties. He wasn't in it for us. He could have cared less about us. He kept buying more and more and putting more work on us and not doing anything and thinking it was okay. I didn't see that part. All I saw were the dollar signs.
Yep.
Well, this is going to be great. And home office kept saying, don't do it. And of course we did it. So that cost us a lot of money, cost us a lot of time. And, I didn't pay attention. I didn't keep my eye on the ball. My eyes were going cuckoo. So.
And, it's tough because, especially for people who are used to reporting to like a regular W-2 job, you come in and somebody tells you, here's the goals, here's the things you need to do, here's the structure, here's, it's all spelled out for you. And suddenly as a business owner, you get put into this environment where like everyone's looking at you to make all of the decisions, right?
Sure.
Whether that's
I'm allowed
clients,
I will tell you,
owners.
I'm really not. That's not my strength. My strength is sales. I sold things that were intangible. I sold things you couldn't touch, taste, or feel.
On TV, yes.
I sold money. But I didn't, I was never a business owner. So I made a lot of mistakes. I look to other people to help me now. I've hired other people to do the things that I really stink at, because there's a lot of things that I really stink at.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you there.
I never will be. And I'm too old to change at this point. I mean, I finally recognized that about myself, that there are certain things about me they're going to change. It's in my blood. It's in my DNA. It's how I am. So I got to find those people that are better and stronger, and I have to listen and I have to watch and then keep my eye on the reports. And I will tell you that with Rent Manager, the system that we use, those reports will make it or break it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to pull them constantly. And that's something that's helped me a great deal over the years since I've crashed and burned several times. Have a little bit of road rash.
No, seriously. And I mean, it's a lot to take on when you first start, right? So, because you're learning sort of the financials, you're learning actually how to do the business, right? Of like, how do you talk to owners? How do you talk to tenants? How do you do move-ins, move-outs, all stuff? And it's a very detailed business. There's a lot of steps in the process. And so I think, and even for myself, having had a real estate background for 10 years, I'm learning new things every day. And I am so glad to be partnered with a company that has done it, has seen it, has advice and support for me when I have a question, because I get lost constantly. And I'm like, wait, what is this? Why is this doing it? Why do we do it this way? Because I'm one of those people that has to ask, why? And there's an answer. There's an answer. And you're like, okay, that makes sense,
Yeah, no, and that's so important. And I think the other thing that's nice is that we're a tight group. Even though we're growing and there's a lot, I mean, there's people that I don't even know now that my husband keeps recruiting.
Shame on you, hon.
But we're still a close, tight-knit group. And as I say to every new franchisee, if you need me, call me. I will always make time. And sometimes it's franchise, you're like, I don't know if I want to ask him this question. I did this wrong. Call me, call somebody else, call the Colonel, call Simon, we're all here to help. And although we're all slightly competitive, extremely competitive.
Yeah, just a bit,
we really want to help each other.
It's true. It is true.
And I think that's the really cool thing too. If you see us together, those that kind of started this whole thing, we're such a tight-knit group, and we're so happy to help anybody that comes in, and we want to bring them in, and we want them to be successful, and we want to grow the brand. I mean, really, we need to grow the brand. The more we grow the brand,
the better it is for everybody. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, because, one of the reasons I chose All County it is because of that, kind of family feel, as we call it, right? Like, we know the other franchisees, and obviously, Sandy is your sister, and then you're married to Han, who's the business development franchise sales guy. So
crazy.
How has that been like, just from a standpoint of like working with your family? Because a lot of people come in and they're working with either their spouse or another relative. How has that been for you? Because business,
in the beginning,
it adds a whole nother layer, right? I mean,
yeah, in the beginning it was kind of rough. It was awkward. I will tell you that I spent a tremendous amount of time with my sister and the family, and we love getting together. We don't talk about All County a whole lot. It's very rare that you see us talk about business. We kind of stay out of it. If I need help, I ask for help. I tend to go to everybody else in the franchise first.
Are you the younger sister or older sister?
Older sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So but I avoid asking her questions unless I really need to. And then when we're together, I may say, hey, is there a better way to do this? And she'll tell me. But for the most part, we kind of keep that separate. And so when we're together and we're doing family stuff, we're just sister on sister stuff, that sounded weird.
Sue, you're so funny. You're doing sister stuff. Okay.
Yeah, when we're doing sister stuff, we don't talk about it. We just don't. They'll tell me stuff that's going on, or goofy stuff, or stuff that's important. I will help wherever I can jump in and help. If there's a franchisee that maybe needs a lifeline, needs some redirection, just needs something, someone else to talk to, I'll do that. But for the most part, in the beginning it was awkward. Now it's just on
normal.
The day-to-day.
Yeah,
we don't talk business. We really don't, unless it's absolutely necessary.
Which is, you would expect being family. But since your husband is also in the business, how is that? Because you guys do work together, right? To manage your Tampa Bay office.
Yeah, he works in Tampa Bay. He's here a couple of days a week for like a half a day. Han and I are very, very similar in a lot of ways. And then we think similar in a lot of ways, and then in some ways we are polar opposites. He's more in the finance. He's more of the, let's look
The
at
numbers guy.
the bean counter. Whereas I'm like, look where we are for the month, woohoo! But it costs us this. I don't care, woohoo! I'm
Which is why you're in sales, right? I mean,
yeah. But he's sales
this
too.
is
That's
true,
what he does
and he's
every
very
day.
good. He's very, very good.
He's Mr. Laugh all the time. We are definitely the odd couple, the tall blonde and the Asian guy. We get a lot of looks.
But it's worked out well for you, it sounds like, because actually, I mentioned at the very beginning of the show, but you have acquired another location. Tell us about that.
We have. So we've required?
Acquired, maybe?
Acquired.
Well, required to. Why not?
Yeah, we were required to find another office. No, we acquired, as of today, All County Alliance. Kitty and Ashvin, great people. I love them to death. They found this was not their
jam. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they like other things, and as you and I have discussed, this is a lot. It takes special people to do this. So we've picked up their office as of today. So I'm pretty excited and pretty nervous and a little bit nauseous. Not going to lie. But
even after all these years,
always makes you nervous. But it's for me, it's exciting. It's a new territory. It's new owners that I have to get acquainted with, and it's a nice book of business. Mm-hmm. It's a really nice book of business. So we're excited. We're sad to see Kitty and Ashvin go, but as I said, it isn't for everyone. You have to have thick skin, and I think one of the things is that you want to work that business until you don't have to, and then you can sit back on the beach and it's still residual income.
Yes.
And that's a really cool thing. And in this arena, I think it's important too, because we're looking at cost of living being higher than ever before.
Yes.
Most people do not have enough money to retire. And what are you going to do? You can do this when you're 80 years old. You can.
Yeah, it's true.
You don't have to be in the business. I mean, you can take this laptop that I'm looking at right now and I can move it anywhere. I can go to the beach right now and work if I want. That's the great thing about this business is you can work from anywhere. And as you separate yourself from the business, you don't have to get rid of the business.
No.
You can still operate it. So like I said, you're 80 years old, 90 years old. I mean, if you're still a sound mind, hey, keep your business going. Get that residual income. You're set.
Why not?
And for me, that's a big driver as to why you want something like this. It just is.
And I would also mention here for those of you that would prefer to buy a franchise that's already up and running, I don't know if the All County franchises ever come up for sale because, to be honest, I think the people within the system like the system so much that they get bought before they even go public. It sounds like that's what I've seen just in my short time here. And, a lot of people do choose the franchise model because it is, in some aspects more sellable than if you just start some random thing, right? So there's a brand behind it. There's a system and a process behind it.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, obviously, but it sounds like basically when there's an office for sale, I mean, the franchisees have a sort of a crack at it first before, it kind of gets sold on the open market.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And, I think for us, we know what we're looking at. We know what we want. We know how it works. And so, and we also know how we can fix everything if there were issues because we've already done that, been there, we have the t-shirt and we understand how it works.
We have the t-shirt. That's nice. And that's why, I've seen also too, just in the short, time I've been here, other franchisees that are more than happy to pick up an office even out of state, right?
Oh, yeah.
And to continue running it. And I just, it boggles my mind, at least it did at the beginning, what? Are they going over there? Are they flying? And I mean, I guess they do, but, they make it work. Yes.
Yeah. And you need to know it's going to cost you money. You're going to have to put money in it, especially if it's, another state away or something. For us, this made sense because it's the territory adjacent, right next to ours. They tie together. So,
ooh, nice.
Yeah, and it's a really great territory. So I'm excited about that. But I think that I lost my train of thought.
I was going to say, is there a Hawaii office? I would totally buy that office. I was like, I would love to go to Hawaii and be like, I'm going to start one here.
Listen, Hawaii. Think Hawaii. Why didn't I think of that?
No, seriously. I was thinking they need a Hawaii office so I can buy it. Or I'll just, when I retire, I'll just go start one there.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool. Oh, but I know what I was saying though. Going to another state, you just got to figure out the logistics
Yes.
and know that you're going to put money into it. Because you're going to have some boots on the ground there and someone that you trust to run that office and that's competent. That's where the money part's going to come in. And the other thing that I have learned about that part is that you do have to pay what the market is saying you have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be cheap.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to be cheap, and that doesn't work either, because you want people that are going to buy into the whole system, just like we have. You want those people that buy into it and maybe want to buy a franchise down the road. That as I say, drink the Kool-Aid and
Yes.
follow the All County way.
Yes. I mean, we just interviewed with Simon Hurt, and he was saying that he and his employees had gone in to do a franchise in Nashville, which is really cool and speaks to, I think, the power of the brand and the system. And, I agree with you also that when you are generous with employees, right, and you don't hire just based on the lowest bottom line, I mean, you avoid things like greater turnover, and, a lot of knowledge is lost every time somebody leaves. And having to retrain constantly is just, I mean,
it's expensive.
It really is.
I tell you, I have churned and burned. Simon has, the Colonel, we all have, through employees. And it's a difficult market to find good help. It is. People, as we know, don't really want to work right now. I'm not sure why, but, that's just the world we live in. So you've got to find that person that has talent. Another big flaw of mine is that I'm a fixer. I think I can fix everyone. I can take them up and make them something that they're not. I've done that and tried that, and it's blown up in my face time and time again. But I thought, oh, Sue, you can do this. You see this in this person, and you can make them so good. And that's something else that I'm not good at. I have to learn to look at the person, look at what they offer, look at what they bring to the table, and what they don't bring to the table, and that ain't gonna change. Yeah. So
completely,
I got to kind of look that way now.
So you have a very successful 10-year plus franchise. You've added another one. It seems like all the cool kids are doing it, right? They like, at least everybody we've interviewed on this podcast, they've all more than one. What are your plans next?
Oh, next. Han and I are looking all over the place. I want to move out of Florida because I can't handle the heat anymore. That could be an age thing too, but it's too bloody hot.
It really does get hot there during the summer. I lived there and I was like, oh boy, no.
Yeah, I'm done with Florida. I like a change of season. I'm an avid gardener. I'm an outdoor kind of person. So, you walk outside in August and it's like breathing through a wet blanket, and you never have good hair days.
Priorities, people. Priorities.
Just saying, Nobody likes to see your makeup running. Mm-mm.
So funny. So it sounds like at some point, maybe you'll be running it remotely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, this will not be my home. I will keep this office. I will keep the new office. I'm just going to add to my offices, and the next place I go is going to be the next office I open. So whether I open or I acquire, Han and I are looking. We're looking in different areas. Simon beat us to Nashville. Oh. Nashville is going to be one of our places we looked at really hard, and we had been looking at. So good for Simon, bad for us.
Hawaii's still open, but apparently. Just saying. Hey, the rents are pretty good there too, I hear. So
I know,
right? Yeah. Because I look at the sales prices and I think, whoa, and that's not even oceanfront, right? I mean, these higher end markets, I think there's a huge opportunity there.
I think.
Yep.
So. I think there's a lot of places we don't have offices that I think would be really
wide
awesome.
Open for people, really.
Yeah. So it's just for us now. It's just to figure out which one's the next one we want. I want to grow this new office we picked up. I think the location is so good. It's such a great territory. So I'm pretty excited about that. And who knows where we're going to go? But we're definitely in acquisition mode. We're not sitting back on our laurels and letting the grass grow around us.
I love that. 10 plus years later, and you guys are still, moving and shaking and doing all the right things, and adding offices and staff. And congratulations on all your success. I'm sure you've seen all kinds of ups and downs, and it's nice to talk to a franchisee who has some experience and some years behind them and is still excited about the brand and, where things are going. And it sounds like it's just been a business that has really worked out for you and your family.
It is. We know the market challenges. We know, right now the home sales are starting to slow a bit. Interest rates are extremely high. But the great thing is, regardless of what the housing market is for real estate in sales, somebody always needs a place to live, and you're always going to have renters. And right now, probably more than ever before, because we have so many people working remotely and things like that. So this is one of those businesses that is solid. It's, pretty much recession proof. And that's the nice thing, because we're talking about where people are going to live and who needs a place to live. And most, a lot of people don't want to buy houses now. And then there are a lot of people that will always rent.
Yeah.
So you always have tenants.
Fantastic business model, honestly. I mean, obviously that's why you and I are here.
Yes, that is. And I'm so glad you're here. This is exciting.
Likewise. Well, Sue, thank you so much for talking to us today about your experiences, and congratulations on the new acquisition. And we wish you so much success ahead. And any last words of wisdom you would have for our listeners?
Listen to Tanya.
No, I just got here. Sue's.
Yeah, but your podcast.
Yes.
You listen to Tanya.
Okay, fair enough.
I think the podcast is awesome. I mean, you can hear the highs and the lows and the slips and falls and the yays and, all those different moments. And, if you've got the guts to do it, this is a great industry to be in.
Awesome. Well, Sue, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed hearing this episode of the All County All-Stars podcast. Thanks for giving us a 5-star review. For more information on how All County can help you start and grow an amazing business, go to allcountyfranchise.com or call us at 855-245-7368. You're only one phone call away from an opportunity that could change your life.